Now on CoastTV News.
A new look at old homes. Delaware lawmakers looking to provide relief following property reassessments across the state. Business on the home front. Lewis takes another look at its regulations for home businesses. Casting ballots at the beach. 3 candidates, 2 seats, and 1 weekend of voting in Rehoboth Beach. We'll tell you about the new leadership in the nation's summer capital.
The week ahead will be warm and more humid. Feels like temperatures by midweek near 100 degrees with increasing shower and thunderstorm chances Wednesday and Thursday. Forecast details coming up.
This is CoastTV News Today.
Good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. Matt Pensick has the day off. It is Monday, August 11th. Thank you for joining us for our 6 o'clock hour. I find that August is a very busy birthday month. My brother's birthday is on Wednesday. Bob, your wife's birthday is on Friday. And then you also have a birthday later the month.
Yeah.
Busy month for birthdays.
I know. My wife Sue's birthday is coming up on Friday. Yeah, then mine is a few days after that. You know, you get to my age, you want to slow the birthdays down a little bit. Out the door this morning, visibility is pretty good, 10 miles from Ocean City to Cambridge and Dover, but we do have pockets of radiational fog, so watch for that. That will quickly burn off around sunrise. It's cool out there, 59 in Long Neck, 58 Gumboro and Redden, 60 in Georgetown with Ocean City, 71, and mid-60s from Bethany Beach up to Lewis. Really nothing in the way of wind right now. We have high pressure overhead and a little bit of fog out there, but once that burns off, we're looking at mostly sunny conditions as we go through today. There is some thicker fog, maybe southern tip of Delmarva down towards Norfolk. So if you're taking the bridge tunnel, watch for some thicker fog there. Otherwise, looking at pretty nice conditions today. And Futurecast this morning has a cool start with temperatures in the 50s and 60s. Some of that fog that will burn off mid-morning. We're in the 70s, and then maybe just a few clouds as we go into the noon hour, 70s to around 80 in Seaford and Delmarva. But I think a little cooler at the beach is 73 Ocean City to 71 in Dewey Beach. I think we'll see a sea breeze kick in as we go into the afternoon, and that will keep you in the 70s there while we're looking at 82 in Millsboro, 82 in Delmar, and pretty pleasant conditions as we go into the evening hours. If you're going for a run, really nice conditions for that. Light winds, temperatures in the 60s early on, then 70s, and then 80 by the noon hour.
Thank you, Bob. A lot of states across the country reassess property values annually or every few years, but Delaware has been an outlier. Homes in Sussex County, for instance, were just reassessed for the first time in 50 years. Tax panic is leading lawmakers to hold a special session Tuesday to consider multiple bills aimed at reforming Delaware's property assessment process and protecting homeowners from what they call unaffordable tax increases. The majority of those tax dollars go towards the public school system. Christina Vent, who works at the Cape Henlopen School District, says that money is important.
I can tell you the schools do need the money, in particular in this area with the growth. As soon as the school's built, we're overcrowded, and so I support that the funds for the schools.
As Sussex County continues to grow and the state grapples with rising costs, lawmakers are trying to determine the best way to handle a bill. And the special session comes as some homeowners, especially in Newcastle County, saw their property values jump by over 500%, leading to huge tax bills. In response, the House filed 3 emergency bills, House Bill 240, 241, and 242, to provide short-term relief, including refunds, payment plans, and letting school districts adjust tax rates. The special session is set for August 12th, with lawmakers promising more permanent solutions in 2026. In Ocean City, Sunday was the last day boaters had the chance to get on the leaderboard and win a big cash prize at the White Merlin Open. Usually boaters can choose 3 out of the 5 days to fish, but due to the weather, Saturday and Sunday were an option, allowing boaters to fish 3 out of the 7 available days. Jimmy David and his crew went out on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday.
We had a good year. My buddy Nick got a nice mahi yesterday, so it was nice to bring that to the scale. First time really we ever made it to the scale, so we were happy to go there.
And we'll have more on who topped the charts in the world's largest billfish tournament later on CoastTV News Today. New this morning, the Delaware Republican Party has elected a new chair. According to officials, Jean Truono will lead the party The party states Truono is a lawyer with experience in financial services, business, and public service. This comes less than a month after former chair Julianne Murray stepped down. And it was in July that former Delaware GOP chair Julianne Murray announced she was resigning from that position. The announcement came after she was sworn in as interim U.S. attorney for Delaware, a role Murray said demanded her full attention. Murray says she's stepping down to avoid being a distraction and let party leaders do their work without drama. Rehoboth Beach elected new leaders after its municipal election on Saturday. The election was a 3-candidate race for 2 open seats on the Rehoboth Beach Board of Commissioners. Susan Stewart and Chris Galanti were elected. Susan Stewart, a lawyer, is already on the Rehoboth Beach Planning Commission and Mixed Use and Stormwater Utility Task Forces. She's also a financial advisor with a major wealth management firm. Chris Galanti is a senior program and account manager overseeing government contracts. And let's take a look at the election numbers in Rehoboth Beach. According to officials, a total of 1,111 ballots were cast in the municipal election. 637 of those were in person at the convention center and 474 by absentee. It's important to note each voter was allowed to vote for up to 2 of the 3 candidates. Stewart received the highest number of votes with 849, followed by Galanti with 806. Jeffrey Good, the 3rd candidate in the race, received 314 votes. Stewart and Galanti will be sworn in during the Board of Commissioners meeting on September 19th. Happening today, an update is expected over home-based businesses in Lewis. According to the agenda for tonight's council meeting, leaders will present an update on an ordinance that would allow these types of businesses. One woman who wants to run a dog grooming business in her Lewis basement sparked the Lewis Planning Commission to create a specific subcommittee. That committee was tasked with reassessing all of its regulations in its growing town. Some locals think it's a good idea to a certain extent.
They want to keep their house. They don't want to be homeless. So they figure out a way, something that they're good at, something that they really enjoy, and they can make a business out of it. And they ought to be given the opportunity to do that.
And the City Council will meet tonight at 5:30 at City Hall. We are now taking a live look at Washington, D.C. President Trump is set to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin later this week in Alaska in an effort to end the war in Ukraine. President Trump has suggested that a peace deal will include swapping territory, but Ukraine's leader says his country will not cede any land. As NBC's Alice Barr shows us, there are new questions now over whether or not he will join that meeting.
Preparations are underway for high-stakes talks at the end of the week aimed at ending Russia's war on Ukraine. President Trump set to meet Friday with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska, with the potential for Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to join.
The only way to make peace is to sit down and talk.
Vice President J.D. Vance met in England over the weekend with top Ukrainian officials and European allies, talking through Ukraine's peace proposals as Russia keeps up its punishing attacks. President Zelensky has said Ukraine will not give up its land to occupiers, something President Trump said may be necessary.
There'll be some swapping of territories to the betterment of both.
White House Special Envoy Keith Kellogg heads to Ukraine today to continue talks. As a senior U.S. official tells NBC News, the White House is considering inviting President Zelensky to the Alaska meeting, though Russia's leader has said Ukraine was far from meeting its conditions for face-to-face talks. Democrats pressing for a Ukrainian presence and criticizing the location.
Putin is a war criminal. This is not a show of strength to allow him to fly into the United States.
Republicans pushing back, while some are calling for more protections for Ukraine.
Security guarantees to Ukraine to prevent Russia from doing this again.
President Trump heads into the meeting having sharply shifted his tone toward more vocal criticism of President Putin and threats of added sanctions, increasingly frustrated as the Russian assault drags on. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
We are just getting started in this hour of Coast TV News today. We still have a lot more news to get to. Coming up, Milford School moves forward, how long the school sat vacant before a restoration project that is now almost complete. Impact fee improvement will tell you about the possible new rates in Georgetown regarding sewage and water fees tonight. And price hike on sending presents will tell you when higher fees go into effect with the U.S. Postal Service. All that and more as Coast TV News Today continues.
6:11 on our Monday morning and a beautiful sunrise just about to start on the Tyndall's Casual Furniture Camp 59 in Laurel. And visibility is good, 9 to 10 miles for the most part, but we do have pockets of fog, so watch for that. That quickly burns off this morning, but cool. 57 in Long Neck, 58 in Gumboro, 60 in Georgetown and Millsboro. A little warmer, Ocean City, 71 degrees. As the winds are calm, we have high pressure overhead right now, a little bit of fog. That will burn off to lots of sunshine for today. And a good-looking day if you're headed to the beach or really any outdoor activity, including, cutting the grass. Maybe not the most popular outdoor activity, but looking good the next 2 days, Monday and Tuesday. Then increasing storms Wednesday knocks us into the fair category. Then Thursday, poor because we have more showers and storms. But it gets pretty warm and muggy as we get into the middle of the week. I'll have much more on your forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Bob. Roadwork is set to begin next week on Carroll Street in Salisbury, and officials say drivers should plan for some delays. You can see that area we're talking about right here on your screen. Crews will work on paving project from Route 13 to the Circle Avenue. According to the city, work takes place August 18th with an expected completion on August 22nd. Work will include milling, paving, and striping. Salisbury Mayor Randy Taylor says that project will result in 2 lanes in each direction, separated bike lanes, and safer pedestrian crossings. The city says it plans to finish that project before the Maryland Folk Festival on September 19th. A toll collector is recovering after a crash at the Dover Toll Plaza over the weekend. DelDOT says the worker suffered minor injuries when a vehicle hit the toll booth. Officials are reminding drivers the speed limit through toll areas is just 10 miles per hour, even if you're only paying cash. And you will likely need to pay more to send packages through the Postal Service this holiday season. That's according to a notice filed with the Postal Regulatory Commission. The Postal Service says it plans to temporarily increase the price for some services to cover extra handling costs to ensure a successful peak season. The higher cost will cover Priority Mail Express, Priority Mail, and USPS Ground Advantage. If approved by the Commission, the temporary rates would go into effect on October 5th and will remain in place until mid-January. Gold prices are on a roller coaster after confusion over whether the precious metal will be hit with new steep tariffs. This comes after a July 31st Customs and Border Protection letter indicated imported gold bars would not be exempt. Gold futures in New York trading briefly surged above $3,500 a troy ounce before retreating. Friday, the White House called the tariff talk misinformation and said it will issue an executive order to clarify the matter.
We're looking at calm conditions, looking over Delaware Bay. Boat going out through Roosevelt Inlet right now, 65 in Lewis. A little cooler inland areas and warmer temperatures on the way this week. And the humidity does crank up a little bit, so feels like temperatures by Wednesday and Thursday could be near 100 degrees. Along with that, better rain and storm chances too. I'll have complete forecast details coming up in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
The time is now 6:16 and we are taking a live look outside at Lewis this morning. And Bob, we're slowly starting to see the sun come up there. A sunny Monday is just what we need to start the week. I know if it's rainy on Mondays, I feel even more tired. So I like to see the sun.
I know, we like to see the sun on a Monday at least.
Absolutely.
It's hard to get motivated sometimes on a Monday, but seeing the sunshine definitely helps out. But do watch for areas of fog this morning, just patchy fog here and there. Otherwise, early part of the week is warm, seasonable, sun and clouds. It turns muggy on Tuesday with temperatures in the mid to upper 80s, and then later in the week it gets hot by Wednesday around 90 and then feeling like 100. And I think thunderstorms definitely a possibility both Wednesday and Thursday. But out the door this morning, a little bit of fog and cool temperatures, waking up to 58 in Redden, 60 in Millsboro, 58 in Gumboro, 70 in Ocean City, 64 in Bethany Beach and Lewis at 67. No wind right now, maybe a slight breeze at the coast. We still have weak high pressure over us, so a little bit of fog, but once that burns off, we're getting into mostly sunny skies today as we're pretty clear all the way from the mid-Atlantic up into the northeast. Looks like maybe some thicker fog around the Norfolk area if you're taking the bridge tunnel down in that area. Do watch for some fog. Otherwise, we're looking at some showers and storms across South Carolina and North Carolina. Nothing organized here, but definitely some tropical moisture there. Here's Futurecast. We're looking at 70s as we go into the mid-morning hours, so a pretty quick warm-up by noon. 80 in Seaford, the rest of us 70s. And I think it'll be a little cooler at the beaches today with a light sea breeze there. 73 Ocean City, 72 in Dewey Beach with lower 80s inland areas. And then as we go into this evening, pretty comfortable conditions. And as we go through the overnight into your Tuesday morning, probably not as cool tomorrow morning because we'll have more cloud cover and temperatures in the 60s and 70s. And then working through your Tuesday, we're looking at mid 80s to maybe some upper 80s in the afternoon hours away from the coast. And maybe a stray shower. Otherwise, we're in the 70s at the beaches. And as we go into your Wednesday morning, maybe a little bit of fog. Temperatures in the low 70s, more in the way of clouds on Wednesday, but still very warm with temperatures into the mid to upper 80s. And that's when we have a better chance of some showers and thunderstorms. And on our muggy meter, it does start to get pretty humid with time as those dew points start getting into the 70s Wednesday. Very humid to miserable, I think, by Thursday. But then the humidity does come down a little bit behind a front for the end of the week. But it feels like temperatures today, 80s to near 90 degrees, mid 90s away from the coast on Tuesday. Then Wednesday's the hot day, feeling like 100 in Ellendale, 99 in Millsboro, and still hot, I think, some inland spots as we go into Thursday, as we're seeing some showers and storms later Wednesday into Thursday. Right now, nothing severe, and then to start to dry out on Friday. Let's talk about the tropics. We're watching this system off the African coast. This could become the first hurricane of the season as we go through time. In fact, about a 90% chance of this developing into a hurricane the next several days, and I think it winds up somewhere in the western Atlantic in the next several days. Right now, the models are taking it out to sea, the extended models, but we'll continue to watch that. 84 in Harrington, 83 in Georgetown today, 75 in Rehoboth with mostly sunny skies. Cambridge and Vienna, 84 in Easton, and across Maryland, 78 Berlin, 80 Snow Hill, and 81 in Pocomoke City. Paul Davis 7-day forecast to see how those temperatures climb through the week ahead up to 89 by Wednesday with showers and storms. Another chance of showers and storms Thursday, 89. Friday, mostly sunny, 87. And right now, the weekend looking good. Mix of sun and clouds Saturday, 86, and then 88 on Sunday.
Thank you, Bob. Happening today in Georgetown, officials are set to hold a second reading and possible adoption of an ordinance regarding sewer and water impact fees. This is according to the agenda for the town council meeting. During previous discussions between leaders, a decrease for impact fees for developers was being considered. The current rate sits at $7,400 per sewer and $1,099 for water. Georgetown's town manager believes that this decrease in fees will greatly benefit the town.
What it affords the town the ability to do is if we need improvements, like we have a sewer line that's going to run through one property and it's being developed, we can ask that developer to put in additional improvements, a deeper sewer depth or additional sized water lines. And as a trade-off, the town's willing to forego part of the impact fees.
Town leaders will gather to consider that new ordinance tonight at 7 o'clock. One home is in need of repairs after a fire in Salisbury. The Salisbury Fire Department says the fire started on Sunday. You can see pictures of the scene right here on your screen. According to the agency, the house is located on Grant Avenue. The fire took place in a bedroom, but crews say they were able to quickly put it out, causing only limited damage. Up next on Coast TV News today, Milford School moves forward. We'll tell you when you can get a first-hand look at the newly restored Milford Middle School. Don't go anywhere. New this morning, a big day is coming for Milford students, staff, and families. Milford Middle School is officially ready to open its doors. Officials will hold a ribbon cutting next month. This comes after crews worked on restoring the building after over a decade of vacancy. The school closed its doors back in 2012. The district cited a growing student population as a driving force for the project. That event will include a tour of the newly restored school. It will all take place on September 13th at 11 a.m. The Fenwick Island Beach Patrol is celebrating a big win at the U.S. Life-Saving Association National Championships. According to the town, 4 members of its beach patrol helped the Sussex County Life-Saving Association in securing first place overall at the competition. Officials say the events that helped score big towards that win were 6th place in men's age group beach run, 13th place in men's open beach run, 8th place in women's open rescue race, and 1st place in men's age group beach flags. And speaking of the beach, today is looking like a good day to head to the beach. If you're not working today on a Monday, a beach day, always a good option.
And it's always good if you're not working on a Monday, Lisa, and you have the opportunity to go to the beach. And it's looking like a good beach day. Rip current threat is moderate, so be careful out there. Make sure you swim with a buddy or at a guarded beach. UV index is very high, mid-70s in Chincoteague and Assateague. Some clouds this morning, maybe a little bit of fog. Farther up the coast, Fenwick Island, mid to upper 70s for you. And looking at mid-70s in Ocean City, waves around 2 to 3 feet. On the Bayside, 1-foot waves. We're in the mid-80s the next 2 days for Cambridge. Some storms Wednesday. At Crisfield, maybe a little cooler, and I think you'll see a better chance of storms Wednesday. Those continue into Thursday, too, and getting pretty muggy and warm. I'll have more on your forecast coming up in the next half hour.
And after the break on Coast TV News today, world leaders push for peace. We'll tell you about efforts by President Trump to push for the end to the fighting between Russia and Ukraine. And home-based business debate in Lewis will tell you how the possible update expected tonight. And a new look at old homes, Delaware lawmakers looking to provide relief following property reassessments across the state. Coast TV News today. We'll be right back.
Now on Coast TV News.
A new look at old homes, Delaware lawmakers looking to provide relief following property reassessments across the state. Business on the home front, Lewis takes another look at its regulations for home businesses. Casting ballots at the beach, 3 candidates, 2 seats, and 1 weekend of voting in Rehoboth Beach will tell you about the new leadership in the nation's summer capital.
The week ahead will be warm and more humid. Feels like temperatures by midweek near 100 degrees with increasing shower and thunderstorm chances Wednesday and Thursday. Forecast details coming up.
This is Coast TV News Today.
Good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. Matt Pensick has a day off. Thank you for joining us for our 6 o'clock hour. If you are driving this morning, you need to be looking out for those foggy conditions. I know when I was driving in, it hit some fog, Bob, so that's something that people need to be aware of on this Monday morning.
Absolutely, Lisa. Good morning, Delmarva as well. And yes, the fog is not everywhere, and that can make it more dangerous. You're driving along, everything's good, and then boom, you get into a little bit of fog. So watch that. But the visibility overall is good, around 9 to 10 miles across the region. And that fog will quickly burn off here in the next hour or so. It's cool, 57 in Gumboro, 58 Dagsboro, 60 in Millsboro, a little warmer in Ocean City at 70. Rehoboth right now 66 as the winds are calm. We have high pressure overhead, light winds, and a little bit of that fog. But once that burns off, we're getting into mostly sunny skies as we go through the day. If you're traveling south towards Norfolk, do watch for maybe some thicker fog there. As Futurecast this morning showing us by 7:30 that most of us are in the 60s, and that fog transitions to maybe some low clouds. Mid-morning, we're in the 70s. By noon, upper 70s, close to 80 around Delmar. I think we'll stay in the 70s at the coast with a bit of a sea breeze there, but inland areas, lower 80s from Millsboro to Delmar as we go into the afternoon hours. I did give it the yellow light this morning for patchy fog, so watch for that, but that will quickly burn off the sunshine and a few clouds, and the PM commute looking good. Gave it the green light with warm and dry conditions.
Thank you, Bob. A lot of states across the country reassess property values annually or every few years, but Delaware has been an outlier. Homes in Sussex County, for instance, were just reassessed for the first time in 50 years. Now state lawmakers are considering bills to help ease the financial burden on homeowners. As Coast TV News reporter Emma Aiken shows us, locals say they may need it.
The year was 1974. The Way We Were topped the charts. Blazing Saddles was the #1 movie in America, and it was also the last time Delaware conducted a property reassessment. That is, until 2024. But those reassessments have come with serious sticker shock for some homeowners.
It was a big jump for a lot of us.
Part of the problem with that big new bill, according to Christina Vent, is that the reassessment came back wrong.
There was a basement listed. There's not a basement. It's a small crawl space.
Like Vent, longtime Milton homeowner Wayne Corman says he's anxious to see how much his taxes are going to go up.
We'll find out here soon in August, but we all know it's going to be higher. And a lot of people retired can't afford it. But a lot of people coming down from out of state are retired because they can't afford where they were at.
Tax panic is leading lawmakers to hold a special session Tuesday to consider multiple bills aimed at reforming Delaware's property assessment process and protecting homeowners from what they call unaffordable tax increases. The majority of those tax dollars go to the public school system. Vent, who works for the Cape and Lopin School District, says that money is important.
I can tell you the schools do need the money, in particular in this area with the growth. As soon as the school's built, we're overcrowded, and so I support the funds for the schools.
As Sussex County continues to grow and the state grapples with rising costs, lawmakers are trying to determine the best way to handle a bill come due after half a century of kicking the can down the road. In Sussex County, Emma Aiken, Coast TV News.
The special session comes as some homeowners, especially in Newcastle County, saw their property values jump by over 500%, leading to huge tax bills. In response, the House filed 3 emergency bills, House Bill 240, 241, and 242, to provide short-term relief, including refunds, payment plans, and letting school districts adjust tax rates. The special session is set for August 12th, with lawmakers promising more permanent solutions in 2026. New this morning, the Delaware Republican Party has elected a new chair. According to officials, Jean Truono will lead the party. The party states Truono is a lawyer with experience in financial services, business, and public service. This comes less than a month after former chair Julianne Murray stepped down. In Sussex County, District 20 Representative-elect Alana Berry will be sworn in after winning the District 20 special election. On your screen right now is a post from Friday. Representative Berry in Dover at her new seat in Legislative Hall. Berry beat opponent Nikki Biller by just 121 votes. Rehoboth Beach elected new leaders after its municipal election on Saturday. The election was a 3-candidate race for 2 open seats on the Rehoboth Beach Board of Commissioners. Susan Stewart and Chris Galanti were elected. Susan Stewart is a lawyer and is already on the Rehoboth Beach Planning Commission and the Mixed Use and Stormwater Utility Task Forces. She's also a financial advisor with a major wealth management firm. Chris Galanti is a senior program and account manager overseeing government contracts. Happening tonight, an update is expected over home-based businesses in Lewis. According to the agenda for tonight's council meeting, leaders will present an update on an ordinance that would allow these types of businesses. One woman who wants to run a dog grooming business in her Lewis basement sparked the Lewis Planning Commission to create a specific subcommittee. The subcommittee was tasked with reassessing all of its regulations in the growing city. The council will meet tonight at 5:30 at City Hall. We are now taking a live look at Washington, D.C. President Trump is set to meet with Russian President Putin later this week in Alaska in an effort to end the war in Ukraine. President Trump has suggested that a peace deal will include swapping territory, but Ukraine's leader says his country will not cede any land. This has the potential for Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to join. As Russia keeps up its pushing attacks, President Zelensky has said Ukraine will not give up its land to occupiers, something President Trump said may need to happen.
There'll be some swapping of territories to the betterment of both.
The only way to make peace is to sit down and talk.
President Trump heads into that meeting having sharply shifted his tone towards more vocal criticism of President Putin and threats of added sanctions. Developing news, President Trump is reportedly thinking about declaring marijuana a less dangerous drug. 2 sources who attended a recent dinner at Trump's private club says the president disclosed the need to look into loosening federal restrictions on marijuana. While campaigning for office, Trump signaled support for reclassifying marijuana as a lower-risk substance. And this comes as Delaware's recreational marijuana market is now open. The permission follows at least 2 years of legislation and planning. According to officials, medical marijuana dispensaries with conversion licenses can begin recreational sales. In December, the state awarded 15 open retail marijuana licenses across the state, with 5 in Sussex County. Governor Matt Meyer says revenue from the new market will help fund education, public health, and infrastructure. And we're just getting started in this final half hour on Coast TV News today. We still have a lot more news to get to. Coming up, raising funds for furry friends. We'll show you the event on Delmarva this weekend that hope to match pets with new owners. And for the final time in 2025, we take a look at the White Marlin Open leaderboards to see who finished on top. And Bypass Project pushes forward. We'll give you an update on the Millsboro Bypass Project status. Stay with us on Coast TV News today.
6:39 on this beautiful Monday morning. Gorgeous sunrise on the Tyndall's Casual Furniture camera. 59 degrees. Watch for areas of patchy fog. It's just real patchy radiational fog. It'll burn off real quick. But right now, visibility 9 to 10 miles. So looking pretty good out there. And cool 57 in Gumboro and Redden right now. 60 in Georgetown and Millsboro with calm winds. So we're looking at a beautiful Monday on the way. Light winds and temperatures on the warm side. If you're traveling south part of Delmarva down to Norfolk, watch for areas of thick fog there. Otherwise, outdoor activities, including golf, looking great today. Make sure you pack plenty of water and sunscreen as well. 84, mostly sunny, warm, and pleasant. And in case you missed it earlier, our umbrella giveaway winner, Debbie Foster from Cambridge. Congratulations to her from Paul Davis Restoration and Home Remodeling and Coast TV.
A big step forward for the Millsboro Bypass Project. Eastbound 1320 to southbound 113 is reopening, as well as Sheep Pen Road. On your screen right now is a map of the project aimed at fixing traffic in downtown Millsboro. Here's footage of the bypass work on Friday. The full bypass is currently expected to open in late September. More on the uncertain future of Wallops Visitor Center. NASA Goddard Space Flight Center says no decisions about facility closures have been made, but union leadership says that the initial communication to employees via email signifies a clear intent to close the visitor center on October 1st. Jeff Parks is the chair of Wallops Research Park Leadership Council, and he says it's too early to panic about the center's future.
My experience being a federal contractor as well as a federal employee, that notices have to be sent out if there's a potential for funding to be cut off. That's not new. It happens very often. It may be new to our area. So I'm hopeful, and from what I've heard, that's where we are in the process here.
The union is calling for increased transparency from agency leadership as to why these sites are being considered for closure. That's in addition to an impact study, a public hearing, and congressional oversight. The annual White Marlin Open brings visitors from all over to Ocean City for the week-long tournament. Take a look at one of the people who made it to the leaderboards. That's basketball icon Michael Jordan, who made a slam dunk at the scales. His boat Catch 23 scored in second place in the White Marlin category with a 71-pound catch.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studio.
Good morning, sports fans. The White Marlin Open tournament has concluded. Let's take a look at those leaderboards and see who collected that top prize.
And the boat Bill Fisher caught the first White Marlin of the tournament and was able to hold on to first place at 72 pounds with a prize of just under $4 million. Crazy enough, NBA champion Michael Jordan's boat, Catch 23, caught a White Marlin on the final day, and it was just 1 pound shy of evening out that top prize. Barbara B. holding on in the Blue Marlin category, bringing home a $1.2 million prize for the 929.5-pound Blue Marlin. New leaders in the tuna category as the day rounded up, Seahab bringing in the 188-pounder for the top spot. And the lone wahoo caught on Sunday by boat Shooting Star that was 49.5 pounds. The dolphin category relatively staying the same from earlier in the week with boat Barbara B coming out on top.
And for the final time, a quick word from one of our sponsors on behalf of the White Marlin Open.
White Marlin Open leaderboard coverage is sponsored by RudyMarine.com, where family boating begins.
Coming up tonight on DSN, your game of the night at 8 o'clock, you can catch an episode of Into the Trenches, A New Voyage. Then at 10:30, it's the final score. Movie and streaming news now. Here's David Daniel with today's Hollywood Minute.
Yeah, I feel good, man. It's day one. Day one? My fourth ever day one on Spider-Man. Tom Holland is back at work filming Spider-Man: Brand New Day. Sony released this footage of Holland riding a tank and posing for photos with a special fan. Holland says in the clip it's his first day one with fans on the set. Spider-Man: Brand New Day is due in theaters July 31st, 2026.
The story itself really is just so crazy.
Jonah Hill is looking to beat Spidey to theaters. Warner Brothers says Cut Off is set to debut July 17th of next year. Hill and Kristen Wiig star in the comedy as entitled siblings. Hill also directs, produces, and co-wrote the film.
Everything I've done, everywhere I go, is for the One Piece.
Netflix seems to feel pretty good about One Piece. Season 2 of its live-action adaptation of the long-running manga doesn't debut until next year, but the streamer has already announced it's picking up the show for a third season. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
If you're having a rough week, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from CoastTV with personal features, fun things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up right now for free at coasttv.com and get your weekly dose of joy directly to your inbox on Friday.
We have a calm and mostly clear Monday morning. Look at the water, just absolutely glass right now at Ocean View. 65, gorgeous conditions. A little bit of fog early, but then warming temperatures on the way this week with more humidity as well. Feels like temperatures near 100 Wednesday and Thursday, and then better rain chances with that heat too. I'll have your complete forecast coming up in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
The time is now 6:47 and we are taking a live look outside at Laurel this morning, and this camera usually gives us a beautiful sunrise, Bob. We see it right there. It's almost too bright for our camera, but you know what? We will take the sunshine.
We will. Beautiful sunshine. And you can see right at ground level too, Elisa, a little bit of fog out there, but that will quickly burn off once the sun comes up. And early in the week, we're looking at seasonable conditions. Sun and clouds, turns muggy Tuesday, and temperatures mid to upper 80s. Later in the week, I think the hottest day is Wednesday, feeling like close to 100 degrees. So not done with the summer heat yet. Some thunderstorms possible, especially as we go into Wednesday and Thursday. But a cool start on Monday, 57 in Gumboro, 60 in Millsboro. Bethany Beach, 65, 59 in Laurel. So maybe a sweatshirt out the door. As we're looking at calm conditions right now, and aside from a little bit of that fog, we're looking at lots of clear skies all across Delmarva and the region, as well as we still have high pressure in charge. Maybe some thicker fog if you're heading towards the bridge tunnel down into the Norfolk area, so watch for that. And then deeper moisture off the southeast coast, not a tropical system, but lots of rain across the Carolinas right now. Let's walk you through it on Futurecast this morning closer to home. We're looking at temperatures in the 70s by mid-morning as that fog is long gone. By noon, we're in the 70s with some clouds, a mix of sun and clouds this afternoon. By mid-afternoon, low 80s from Georgetown to Salisbury, but I think we're staying in the 70s at the beaches with a sea breeze there, and then inland areas, upper 70s and low 80s through the afternoon and evening hours. Then overnight into Tuesday morning, not as cool because we're looking at clouds and a southwesterly flow, temperatures in the 60s and 70s. And tomorrow is a little warmer as we go into the afternoon. I think low to mid 80s away from the coast with 70s at the beaches, and we crank up that humidity too. A slight chance of a shower later Tuesday, and then it's warmer into Wednesday morning with low 70s, and then Wednesday more in the way of clouds and humidity and a better chance of some widely scattered showers and storms, and temperatures in the mid to upper 80s. As Wednesday and Thursday, the humidity goes up. It's sticky and tropical, and storms later Wednesday and into Thursday. Then we'll see a cold front cooling us off a little bit for the end of the week, but humid conditions on the muggy meter through Tuesday, and then very humid to miserable, I think, later in the week, and then drying out a little bit by the end of the week, as feels like temperatures close to 90 in Seaford today, and then feeling even hotter into mid-afternoon tomorrow into the mid-90s away from the coast, 80s at the beaches, around 100 in Ellendale. That feels like temperature Wednesday. That's going to be the worst day with those feels like temperatures, 80s at the beaches, and then still another hot day on Thursday as we're dealing with those showers and thunderstorms later Wednesday and into Thursday. And then Friday, things do start to clear out. I want to talk about the tropics real quick. This system off the African coast could become our next hurricane. The National Hurricane Center thinking there's a 90% chance of this developing as it moves across the Atlantic. And I think it winds up somewhere somewhere in the western Atlantic the next several days. Right now, the extended models take it out to sea and not affecting us, but it's still too early to tell. 83 in Milford, 80 in Lewis today, with 84 in Cambridge and Vienna. And then Salisbury, you're checking in with 84, but cooler mid-70s. Ocean City to Chincoteague. Paul Davis 7-day forecast. You can see the warm up this week, close to 90 Wednesday and Thursday. Showers and storms drier Friday, 87. The weekend looking good. Mix of sun and clouds, 86 Saturday, 88 on Sunday.
Thank you, Bob. Raising funds for furry friends in Cambridge, Wags, Wings and Wheels had its inaugural event on Saturday. Live music, food trucks, classic cars and airplanes covered the Cambridge airport, all to raise money for the animals at Baywater Animal Rescue. Their executive director says the ultimate goal, finding these animals their forever home.
We love all of our resident shelters. We love them so much. We love having them, but in the end, our goal and our mission is to find them their forever homes. Animals belong in homes, not in shelters.
Malkus says the Baywater Animal Rescue is reliant on donations and is always looking for volunteers. The time is now 6:52 and we are going to check in with our coastal pet of the day. And today's coastal pet of the day loves the great outdoors. On your screen right now is Eve. Eve is a 4-year-old German Shepherd who enjoys a hike at any of Delaware's beautiful trails. That is a beautiful picture of Eve. Hope Eve went outside this weekend. And Eve was submitted to us by Sue in Milton. We want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. Send us photos and tell us what makes them so special. You can take a look at your screen, scan the QR code at the top of your screen to submit your furry friend to Coast TV News, then watch weekdays from 5 to 7 a.m. to see all of the pets we feature. It is 6:55 and here are the things you need to know before you go. Rehoboth Beach elected new leaders after its municipal election on Saturday. The election was a 3-candidate race for 2 open seats on the Rehoboth Beach Board of Commissioners. Susan Stewart and Chris Galanti were elected. Susan Stewart is a lawyer and she is already on the Rehoboth Beach Planning Commission and the Mixed Use and Stormwater Utility Task Forces. She's also a financial advisor with a major wealth management firm. Chris Galanti is a senior program and account manager overseeing government contracts. Happening today, an update is expected over home-based businesses in Lewis. According to the agenda for tonight's council meeting, leaders will present an update on an ordinance that would allow these types of businesses. One woman who wants to run a dog grooming business in her Lewis basement sparked the Lewis Planning Commission to create a specific subcommittee. That subcommittee was tasked with reassessing all of its regulations in the growing city. And the time is now 6:56, so we're going to take another look at your Monday forecast before you head out the door. Bob, it was a pleasant weekend, and it's looking like it's going to be a pleasant Monday as well.
It is, and it always, it's always easier to get motivated too, I believe, Elisa, when we have a nice day on the way for Monday. Watch for areas of fog early this morning. That quickly burns off to sunshine, light winds, and temperatures warming through the 70s. I think lower 80s inland areas. We see this east-southeast breeze. I think you'll be a little cooler at the coast with 70s at the beaches. Paul Davis 10-day forecast, 86 on Tuesday. We start to increase the humidity, so those feels-like temperatures will be in the 90s. And then we're actually near 90 Wednesday and Thursday, and a chance of showers and storms, especially on Thursday. But those feels-like temperatures near 100 away from the coast, really both days. But then cooler, a little drier Friday, 87. As of now, the weekend looking good. Mix of sun and clouds. Saturday, 86, 88 on Sunday. Monday starts warm, 89, and then it looks like a bit of a cool down. Tuesday, mid-80s, and then a little cooler yet by next Wednesday with a mix of sun and clouds and a high of 81.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News today. The Today Show is coming up next at 7 a.m. Then we'll be back for Coast TV midday at 11. And for even more news and coverage you can count on, download our Coast TV News and weather apps. Have a great Monday morning.